Jacqueline Foster, Conservative MEP for the northwest of England. What's your reaction to the European Commission's decision that state aid, public money for Liverpool cruise terminal is in line with European state aid rules?
Well, I was never in any doubt that this was not going to be a state aid issue. And on the back of that, in May 2012, I wrote to the Competition Commissioner, Commissioner Meunier. I also added on top of that a letter to Commissioner Callas, who was the Transport Commissioner here, and I urged them to ensure that we were in a position, certainly in Liverpool, where we could build this cruise terminal. In terms of the amount of monies that were involved, we were talking literally just over £8 million that would need to have been repaid because of the small print at the time when this deal had been done by Liverpool City Council. And having got past all of that, I was very confident that the outcome would be as it would be. It's taken a bit of time, but we've got there in the end, basically.
I mean, what do you think of the other ports from other parts of the country, like Tyne Tees, not a million miles away from Liverpool, that look at Liverpool and say, hang on a second, you've got public money, we haven't got public money for our cruise terminal, what's going on here? And the fact that they've challenged it seems fair enough, doesn't it?
Well, there are all sorts of different funds that all parts of the country and other member states in the European Union can access. They can also apply for. Sometimes they may be turned down. But I think we mustn't move away from the fact here that this original funding, this £8 million was part of a structural fund, and this has been looked very closely into, and the Commission is satisfied that it does not breach state aid rules. And I'd just say this in addition. Clearly we have the big ports like Southampton, and obviously we're looking up in the Tyneside area as well. There's no guarantee, even if you're able to build a cruise terminal, that the companies will want to come to your city. And of course, there's an added advantage if you do have the facilities. So, nothing was cut and dried. And obviously it's then been down to Liverpool to sell what it has. I mean, it's a great city. It's one of the most iconic skylines in the world. I think you can go anywhere in the world and everybody would recognise it. And I just think it's the right way and it's the right move forward. It was instigated by a change of government in 2010, and it kick-started, the Secretary of State for Transport kick-started this. So I think, we're 2014, but I think it's fantastic.
I mean, I understand there's around 46 cruise ships that are expected to dock at Liverpool this year. That's 46 ships that aren't docking somewhere else in the UK.
Well, then we come down to natural competition. Companies will decide where they think they've got the best deals. All the ports are in competition with each other. When you're looking at Southampton, for example, that's absolutely huge, and that will take a massive share of the cruise market. So it's up to Southampton. I don't wish anybody ill, but everybody's going to compete for the traffic. And what we also need to remember, in the northwest of England, predominantly, and even in the north of England, up in Scotland, people are travelling all the way down south to actually go on a cruise. And of course we've had to try and address all of that. And what is fantastic is that next year, in 2015, there's going to be a Queen Mary is going to sail out of Liverpool across the Atlantic, and this is a sort of 100 years, a centenary event, and so that's going to be absolutely fantastic.
When we've looked at this at earlier stages, you've called on the EU to see flexibility because things might have changed since the original bid. So therefore, do you think the European Commission have taken that on board, that they understood that the situation may have changed since Liverpool first put in the bid for money?
Absolutely, and I think this is what we've been calling for as Conservative members of this Parliament. You can't set everything in stone. Each country, each member state at times will have historical ways, the way they have done things, and we can't criticise everybody and try and make this one size fits all. So the fact that they have seriously looked at this, and there is not a breach, clearly that is the case, and the fact that this has been pushed by people like myself and other politicians in the UK and local politicians as well, and we've actually got to this conclusion, I think proves that the Commission really, it's had a bit of of a red card, I think, from the Parliament and members of Parliament to say, look, you need to start looking at what the best way forward is for the member states in this European Union. And where we do have possibilities of creating jobs, creating business, this is how flexible we all need to be.